So, fun story before we get started here. We were just about to record a segment because we're recording this on the 30th, and the news just breaks that Brad Tree Living is fired.
You knew it was going to happen, but why tonight?
They wanted to one up Mitch Marner. That's why. I just came here. I went and got some Chili's. They just fired Brad Tree Living out of left field. Tree Living fired before Chris Ballard is crazy. Chris Ballard is still the Colts GM, but that's football. We're talking hockey here. Golly, what has happened the past 24 hours in the NHL?
These owners and presidents don't care anymore.
They don't. These GMs, they don't care. They're trying to save their skins. Trying to save themselves. Yeah.
And the Leafs are probably going to fire Craig Berube in the coming days too, I would imagine.
Hey, you know what? I'll talk more about this, but I have something to say about that if they do fire Berube. But we'll see about that.
Man. Welcome to Coast Podcast, episode 3. I'm your host Ian, joined by my co-host Olin. And Olin, our resident Golden Knights fan. Pretty big news breaking this weekend.
Big indeed.
John Tortorella, head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. Bruce Cassidy is out. Let's hear about it.
Oh boy. So I got the news broken to me around noon or somewhere around the time when the post happened, because I really wasn't expecting anything out of the Golden Knights. I thought the Golden Knights have played well, but unfortunately they haven't gotten the right goaltending. They haven't scored early enough in games to the point where, you could build a lead.
Right.
Yeah, no, I was having very mixed feelings. I was trying to see if a team could forfeit their Stanley Cup playoff berth, because I do not want to watch this team for another 4 games at minimum. And then I am on Twitter, of course. I have a lot of accounts. You're not going to find any of them because I'm very secretive with my shit. I looked in one of our group chats, my Golden Knight group chats. Someone sent a post from the Golden Knights saying, "What?" in capital letters. And I will tell you what that post reads. It reads, "The Vegas Golden Knights have relieved Bruce Cassidy of his duties as head coach. John Tortorella has been named the head coach." Immediately, I wanted to scream, "What the fuck?" in the store I work at, but unfortunately I couldn't because, I have to keep a professional, look, if you will. But in my mind, I'm going, Absolutely. WTF. Because I said this, the roster was not up to Cassidy's, standards. And he's looking bad because of it. Now, it's like, I don't know. I'm moving some stuff on my desk right. I'm still floored about everything because for this news to come out of nowhere and kind of rock the world of because the Golden Knights, they really haven't been that good this year. I'm going to keep it calm and simple. They haven't been good. And I'm keeping it pretty lightly. They haven't been good. For the standards that this team has built out throughout 9 seasons of games, they haven't been meeting that standard at all. To fire the only coach that has gotten you to the Stanley Cup, to win the Stanley Cup, as a city in the desert, which the other desert team couldn't do. Shout out to my Coyotes guys. Love you guys to death. Wish what happened in Arizona didn't happen, but that's the business. That's baseball, if you will. I just don't know like what to fully think of everything still. And it's crazy because the firing happened like 24 hours ago. Like
Yeah, just a random Sunday.
random Sunday, I'm watching my baseball team. Let's go Rays. I need to check the score in a minute, but they finally won a game and I can't even celebrate it because my head coach of my hockey team got fired. That's messed up. This is a messed up world. But to get to the hockey side of things, it's crazy. With 8 games left, you're at 80 points in the standings, third in division. You're likely going to play the Edmonton Oilers unless you go on an insane 8-0, 7-0-1 run within these last few games. You have probably some mediocre at best goaltending. You are severely eviscerated at center that you're playing Mitch Marner, a $12 million winger at center. You bring in Rasmus Andersson, who is another offensive-minded defenseman that you already have in Hannafin and Theodore, instead of, trying to bring in a guy who could at least replace the fraction of what Alex Pietrangelo left behind. And you can't score a goal unless you're down 2-3-0. It's ridiculous that it had to get to this point. And I'm not saying Bruce Cassidy is a horrible head coach. No, I think he's arguably, with the exception of maybe, considering who's in the NHL right now, John Cooper, Joe Quenneville, Rick Tocchet, I think he's actually pretty underrated. In terms of he's a top 5, maybe top 3 coach in the National Hockey League. He's going to get a job almost immediately. Like, he's probably going to go to LA and fucking haunt our lives for the rest 2 to 3 years as the Kings head coach. Because they're still on an
see
intern.
Him going to Toronto.
Toronto, he'd be perfect. That would be so funny if he beat Boston in a series. If he beat Boston in a series as a Leafs, oh, that'd be so funny. But back to the issue at hand. The roster constructed for Bruce Cassidy to coach is not up to standard to what he likes to play. He's missing that Alex Pietrangelo guy. Rasmus Andersson, as much as I can't really complain too much because we gave up so freaking much for him. I'm having buyer's remorse. That's not an indictment on Rasmus Andersson because I think he's been okay. He's had some defensive woes, but he's been fine on offense. The blame, to me, it feels like there's really a lot of 3 parties that are to blame. And spoiler alert, I don't think Bruce Cassidy is that much at blame. As a coach, you are given a roster that is built by the general management. And most of the time, that the roster moves that are made by management are to conform to your style of play. Trading for Cole Smith, Nick Dowd, Rasmus Andersson, signing Carter Hart after not playing for damn near 2 years, and then losing your third best center, William Karlsson, and then getting some mid goaltending at best. Is that a recipe for you to succeed as a coach of a supposedly Stanley Cup contender year in and year out? I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
And going on to the goaltending, who I think that's a huge chunk of this is the goaltending. Because as it's been documented by almost everyone in and around the Golden Knights, anyone who's covered the Golden Knights, anyone who's followed the Golden Knights, anyone who roots for the Golden Knights, the goaltending is not that great. It's mid at best. And that's being a little bit reluctant to say that they're not absolutely horrible at times.
They have their moments.
They have moments, but they're not good. I think we just got our first or second shutout a couple weeks ago against Chicago in a 4-1 game, 4-0 game.
Jack Eichel only has one power play goal on the year?
I don't think he
How's
has
that
any.
even possible?
I don't
Oh
think he has any. And I don't think he has anything. And I think there should be a lot of. I'm not saying the goalies need all of the blame, because at some point, when do you start questioning the goaltending coaching? I believe Sean Burke is the Golden Knights' current goalie coach. We need to start investigating what he's done to guys because Hill in the cup year, and then I think for a bit of 23-24, he was solid. In fact, that playoff run, he was really good. Really good.
He was great.
And moving more stuff around my desk. I don't know what happened, because as soon as he switched to Brian's pads, he kind of fell off. And I don't know if Brian's pads are just cursed when it comes to the Golden Knights, because Robin Leonard wore Brian's pads, and he did not have a great end to his career here in Vegas. The other guy who wears Brian's pads is a little bit more of the baggage that came with him, and that would be Carter Hart. But that's something that's been debated a while. I can go on about my feelings towards Carter Hart, but I'm not going to today. But
another time.
The failure of this front office, and that's where I think a lot of the blame is going towards Cassidy's failure, is the failure to address the deeper glaring holes in this roster. The center depth, since William Karlsson, who's probably done for the year. I think William Karlsson's done for the year. The failure to at least get a rental for him is crazy, because Marner is now playing center. He might not
never done in his career.
Never done that in his career. I think he's had a worse face-off percentage too. You took your best winger, Mitch Marner, put him at center. You put your second best center, your actual second best center, Tomas Hertl, you put him on the third line with guys who are not going to feed him the puck, and it just kind of create a grind line with that third line. Are we serious? You could not shift anything around to have Hertl up on the second line? That's ridiculous to me.
No sense.
And then just the entire winger depth. Out of all of our wingers, Pavel Dorofeyev is the only one that's consistently scoring goals. And I'm not asking guys like Brett Howden, Keegan Colasar, Cole Smith. I'm not asking any of those guys to suddenly, hey, go score 20, 15 goals for me in a season. I'm not asking about that. Those are bottom six guys, except with the exception of Howden. He's played in a top six role before. It's just the failure to address wing scoring, at least get one scoring winger, has been crazy. Because when the Knights had Victor Olofsson, he was pretty good in his role. I would say that every day. Victor Olofsson was good at his role. Yeah. He wasn't going to go and be your top producer every night. No. But he can go get some scoring done on the bottom six. And they let him go for free and signed Brandon Saad. I'm not going to go too hard on Riley Smith. He's having a decent season. He has 10, 11 goals. Fair play to him. You've done your job. It's really just mind-boggling to me how this roster is constructed. And I'm just talking about the forwards. The defensemen I could go into a little bit. I already went into a little bit earlier, but the forwards are some of the worst I don't know. It's just so like I don't know what's happening with the forwards because I feel like Cassidy is trying to supplement the loss of Carlson by playing another because Marner hasn't been producing as much as I would like for this season, but he's been he's been playing solid defensively and he's contributing on offense. He's not saying he's not contributing. I still think Marner for a first year into the new system, he's done okay. He's done pretty good.
He's another guy too. He wasn't exactly set up for success. I mean, even before he got moved to center, wasn't he playing on the left wing, which he's not done before?
Left wing. I mean, it's I don't know. There's so many like quirks and kinks about this team that I just love to pick at because when Marner was playing with Hurdle and Dorofeyev, that's a loaded line in terms of what you have for the Golden Knights, and that was a pretty good line. That was really good. And Cassidy decides to break it up after putting it back together. That's like one of the gripes I had with Cassidy.
The real question is, do you think this team is built more for John Tortorella hockey?
I don't really know. That John Tortorella is like a lesser version of Bruce Cassidy if he also had like a hype moments in aura compilation. Because Tortorella has been known to get like has his moments hard on his guys, and I think that's something that the Knights kind of need right now. But I don't think John Tortorella, unless he goes on a deep playoff run in round one, or like not round one, but if he goes on a deep playoff run, I don't really think he's staying because he's only contracted to the end of the season and playoffs, of course. I would think if Craig Berube was to get fired, I think the Knights would give him a call too because I think, Marner's played with him 1 year in Toronto. I mean, Barbashev was on that Cup team with St. Louis. And maybe he brings a guy like Jordan Binnington with him. You never know.
He's more of a defensive coach too, which I think would help you guys out.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Cassidy was already a defensive coach to begin with. So
yeah.
It's just going to come down to, what are the Knights looking for? And I think it starts with going into next season. I think you need to go into next season with the mindset that you need a deep retool of the roster. And I was actually like thinking about, because we were going to record this, I was thinking about like guys who would I keep, who would be on the fringe, and then who would be like absolutely gone if I was in Kelly McCrimmon's shoes. And I think I had like a list of keeps already. It was Eichel, Marner, Dorofeyev if you could sign him to a contract extension, Hurdle, Stone. I would take Carlson back, but I think he's more of a fringe, but I'm leaning on Carlson keep, Brett Howden keep, Nick Dowd keep, Keegan Colasar is also a fringe guy, but I would lean a little bit towards keep. Shea Theodore you keep, McNabb you keep, Anderson keep, and then I would keep Lozon too. I would keep Jeremy Lozon. I think he's been, for what he's worth, he hasn't been that bad. Yeah. The guys that like everyone else, I'm willing to trade you. I'm like willing to like move you to get better assets. And that's like that's those fringe guys. If I have to move some of those fringe guys to get better assets, then so be it. If I have to package, if I have to package like Brett Howden or Keegan Colasar to go to New York and say, hey, can I get Lafreniere to play at a middle six role? I'll fucking do that every day of the week. It sucks because I have to trade a guy who's been so core to like the new core in Vegas, which is crazy to say that new core in Vegas. I would do like so much because like a Lafreniere is a guy I've been wanting in Vegas for a while, and I'm not asking him to be the number one overall pick that he was hyped up to be. Just give us like put him in a middle six role and like, kind of develop into that. Be a middle six scoring winger. I don't think that's asking too much. But
no, that should be his ceiling.
Yeah, middle six scoring winger. You'll have a place here in Vegas. And I don't know. There's so much I would do with this team. But the Cassidy firing, it really kind of threw everything out the window because
how do you even evaluate them?
Exactly. Is this team suddenly going to be the best team in hockey once John Tortorella puts in his system, which I saw a bit of his media availability earlier? He's not really changing much. So, is the team going to be better? I don't know. It could be the exact same as what we've been watching for almost, 74 games this year? 74 games? It could be the best hockey team I've ever seen since the Cup team. Or it could be the worst hockey I've ever seen. Which is saying something because this year has pretty much been the worst hockey I've ever seen from this Golden Knights team.
This is definitely a make or break type of move.
It is definitely a make or break type move, which is why I think if this completely falls flat in its face and is John Tortorella doesn't gel well with the group that they have here for the 8 games and whatever playoff games they play, I think he's gone. I think Kelly McCrimmon, the goodwill from his Cup win in 2023, it's gone. And that can happen too. That happened with Jim Rutherford and the Penguins. The goodwill that he had from winning back-to-back Cups there was gone by the pandemic. If we're being honest, it was gone by the pandemic, and that kind of soured the relationship that he had with the fan base. And I feel like if this move isn't a huge jackpot, it's like this is a huge gamble. If this does not pan out the way Kelly McCrimmon wants to, I think Bill Foley is gonna cut loose and bring in a new GM to help fit the new coach.
Maybe Brad Treliving.
Brad Treliving, maybe I have to get I want to say no, but I have to also realize he was in Toronto, and there's just so much pressure in Toronto that I have to give a little bit benefit of a doubt.
He'd be a little bit more familiar with Anderson and Hannafin,
Yeah. But I think right now, if I had to, I would assume John Tortorella is going to be the leading guy to be the head coach right now without having a game played, but that's a very small lead that he has on the role. And now the Vegas Golden Knights are left in a weird no man's land. However, this has happened before. A team has fired a coach with 8 games left in the season and won the Cup. The 2000 Devils. I don't remember a lot about them, but I saw this fact, and I thought that was cool. Probably won't happen here, but it'd be very funny if it did.
If you guys can play the trap like they could, you might be good.
Bringing the trap into 2026, it's going to be fantastic. All right.
Thank you, Tortorella.
We'll be back. We'll be right back after this break, and see you on the other side of this break. I don't know if you saw, but apparently this has been getting popular, or not getting popular, but getting traction. But I don't know if if you saw the fans at the Stars game doing the the arm motion, the arm motion.
I did. That's fucking
crazy. That's crazy.
What the fuck, bro?
But you had the Charlie Kirk 6'7" Golden Knights gold jersey, which that has to be a lost bet or something, because you see Charlie Kirk on the nameplate, right? And it's okay, either there's a lot of possibilities going on, and then you see he's rocking number 67 on the back of it. It's there's that has to be a prank. that has to be like
Most.
a joke gift. And the worst part was, you know what? Because I'm a huge jersey nerd, right? It's
Yeah.
one of the Fanatics like premium, like the old Adidas ones. It's like that, but it's like the Fanatics one. That's not a cheap jersey, especially with
So they
customization.
pay
That's $300.
$300 for Charlie Kirk 6'7".
That's it's I respect it. Hey, shout out those guys. I respect it. But like
And a
there's
big
no way that has to be like a prank. That has to be like a lost bet or something.
it's amazing.
I got because I saw these guys, like I know like the guys who wore the jerseys, they're on Instagram somewhere. I might reach out to get a quick DM, get the story behind it. But
Are you kidding me? Dude,
no,
that could
that's
be a guess.
you get the Charlie Kirk 6'7" jersey guy on the podcast.
A big condemnation towards the Dallas Stars fan base for that. Although it is well known that Mikko Rantanen is Hitler, that's not appropriate. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that.
Oh yeah, no, and that's not even like apparently the situation that was recorded in December. I heard that was like, but it didn't really start getting traction until now. That's what I heard. But yeah, what a weird month for the Dallas Stars. You're kind of You're not fluttering too much. Where I don't think they were ever catching up to Colorado, in my opinion. However, you want home ice against Minnesota, and although I've heard from a couple Wild fans that Minnesota's pretty good on the road, so I don't know. Maybe that's advantage Minnesota if Dallas gets home ice, but yeah, no, a wild month for Dallas Stars fans. Although they did get a nice shutout last night against Winnipeg,
Winnipeg,
3-0. Winnipeg, I think it's too little, too late. Unfortunately, yeah, they've kind of heated up, but I don't really think they'll catch. I don't know. It's so like the West is so weird this year. It's like every team is astronomically the worst team ever, minus the top three in the Central. However, it's also like a really competitive like race, which I think is it's a thing that people would really look over when determining, because like the Pacific Division is awful. However, it's still a really tight race, and I think that's something that's being overlooked despite how bad the hockey is. And I think we kind of need to give the West, because I think with
Right now,
last night's win, let me pull up the standings.
Right now, you have Utah, 84 points in 75 games. San Jose in with 79 points in 74 games. And then right outside is Nashville with 79 and 75. And LA with an identical 79 and 75. Their game was wild last night. It was a direct head-to-head between two teams fighting to get in. And Nashville went up 4-1 initially just for LA to come back and lose in like a 15-round shootout.
LA has almost 20 overtime losses this year, which if I'm Anze Kopitar, I think I might change my mind in retiring, because I don't want my last season to be like this. I don't want my last season.
They set an NHL record for most overtime games in the season, because they've had 30
which
overtime.
Which is funny because I thought Vegas was bound to break that record. We had 16 overtime losses.
Vegas has 8 wins worth of just losing in overtime. One in regulation last night, though.
This is where I'm glad. This is the one time I'm glad I'm ever happy the Kings beat the Knights in something. Which is funny. I don't hate the Kings. I have a lot of Kings fan friends. We love the LA Kings here. I liked seeing them become, a decent playoff contender, kind of rooting them against Edmonton. I hate Edmonton. Don't even get me started. Speaking of the Oilers, they're tied for first place with the Anaheim Ducks. However, the Ducks do have a game in hand, so that's why Anaheim does retain their first place specific spot as of the moment. Vegas still in play for that first seed, and their next game tomorrow night, which as of recording this segment is April 3rd, 2026, tomorrow. Huge game. huge game against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. The last game of the 4-game season series. Edmonton has won all three. All have been really close games. That last one was an overtime loss, which Vegas had a power play, a full 2-minute power play in overtime, could not score, and then immediately after, Bouchard ends it off just an absolute rocket of a wrister to end the game. But
that's going to be some peacocky.
Yeah, no, it's the game will not get Vegas close to first place. However, considering you have Colorado up, you really need to win this game. You really need to beat Edmonton. Yeah. You're okay with losing to Colorado, although Colorado, we need to talk about Colorado, but in a minute. But in a minute. But
what happened to Natchez last night?
I heard something. I heard Natchez got hurt, which sucks. I love Marty Natchez. You know, watching the Hurricanes, such a dynamic player. He's a guy I've wanted on the Knights for a while. Too bad he's on the Avalanche, but that means he's kind of closer. I could watch him. I could watch him whenever Colorado comes into town, which he's such a fun player to watch.
But his right wrist got hurt, and there's like a compilation on Sportsnet of him having just like you know how goofy Natchez is, like how he falls all over the ice, how he goes into the boards at random times. He was doing that.
People talk about like I know like Jack Hughes is like known to like fall over every now and then. Marty Natchez would do the exact same thing.
He does it in the playoffs too,
which is funnier.
Moments.
Although I think Natchez is just a solid guy. I'm sad to see him get injured because, you know, he's kind of like a dynamic guy, especially you pair him with McKinnon, two fast, dynamic players who can score goals. Oh man, it's gonna suck if Colorado, you know, doesn't have him for the first few games of the playoffs, which they still might win. It just won't be as dominant as people may think. All right, now going on to the Colorado Avalanche, they played host to the now confirmed 32 placed, or 32, the worst team in the NHL. Say the worst team in the NHL, the Vancouver Canucks. They played them. You know, it was a Tuesday night matchup.
I believe
they played Tuesday night. They're wearing the Nordique jerseys, which they haven't really been that hot in the Nordique jerseys. The Avalanche have not, which it's weird because yeah, elite uniform matchup. By the way, those Whaler jerseys are always nice to see.
I love the white ones.
Yeah, but they're playing the Canucks at home. Should be an easy game, right? Oh boy, the Canucks fell 8, or not the Canucks. The Avalanche fell 8-6 on home ice against the worst team in the NHL this season. Brock Besser had a hat trick. Teddy Bluger, former Golden Knight, had 2 goals, no assists. And how do you like? I know Colorado. They're probably going to be the Vezina winner, not the Vezina, the President's Trophy winner. Colorado's probably going to be the President's Trophy winner, but you got to think that's. I know it's like the end of the regular season. I know guys like McKinnon and like McCarr's hurt, but does losing McCarr really impact the team that much?
Not in the Western Conference, where their opponents like are, I would say, noticeably weaker, and even with half the roster out, they should be able to bulldoze Vancouver. You know, credit to the Canucks for not totally giving up and, you know, getting a big win. But
yeah, that's gotta be nice. It kind of ruins the tank for a bit, but you guys are locked into that 32 spot. It's not really the end of the world if you win a game against, you know, the best team in the NHL. I mean, I assume it's a good morale booster, but
you would hope so.
Yeah.
And last night was a big night in the Eastern Conference wildcard race. Carolina Hurricanes reach 100 points on the season. defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets in back-to-back games. That bumps Columbus's chances down a bit. They're back now looking out on the outside. Tampa beat Pittsburgh. Ottawa beat the Sabres in a very, very good game. Ottawa is getting a little concerningly hot down the stretch. A potential opponent for the Hurricanes, and they're going for it.
I think a fully healthy Hurricanes team smokes Senators, especially with the injuries they've been dealing.
Magic. If they get that 2019 Hurricanes magic in them, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
I could on a little upset run.
I think Carolina would take care of Ottawa pretty convincingly. I would say maybe 6 games because Ullmark has the ability to absolutely steal a game. We'll get back to that later, but yeah, no.
Red Wings defeat the Flyers in a huge game. Red Wings now tied with the Senators in points, 88 points in 75 games. Just on the outside, they needed that to stay alive. They've been stumbling. They're going to do the classic Red Wings thing, though. They're going to miss on the last day of the season.
They're tied with Ottawa on points. I just don't. I think it's because of regulation losses. They have 27 regulation losses. Ottawa has 26. They have more wins. They have less overtime losses. I think it's just that one loss. Yeah, Ottawa has 39 regulation wins. Detroit has more. They have 40.
No, those are just RW.
Wins. Yeah, no wins.
9.
Okay, that's total wins. Yeah, that's on me.
It's getting down to a race in both conferences, though. This has been very fun to watch.
Yeah, Ottawa and Detroit do not play between now and the end of the regular season, so it's gonna come down to outside factors. I would say that their Detroit schedule is kind of favorable. You get the Rangers immediately tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Eastern. It's 9:30 a.m. for me. You get the Rangers you're at Madison Square Garden. So if anything, that should be an automatic win.
Yep.
It does, however. Go on.
Oh, I was just saying the Rangers are fully tanking for McKenna at this point. And if he goes for the Rangers, I might jump out of a building, but they're going full steam ahead.
Yeah, no. It does, however, get a little bit congested because immediately after you're on a back-to-back, and you're playing the Minnesota Wild at home though. So you're playing Minnesota and Detroit. However, Minnesota's going to be trying to jockey Dallas for that home ice advantage. So that's probably their toughest game. Or there's actually really 2 tough games here. And then you have Columbus and Philadelphia. Those 2 games. If Detroit wins those 2 games, I think they'll make the playoffs. Yeah. I really think that they have a really good chance of making the playoffs if they beat Columbus and Detroit. Or Columbus and Philadelphia. Not Columbus and Detroit.
Out of the 5 teams, we can throw in 6. Out of Boston, Ottawa, Detroit, Columbus, Philly, and Washington, who is somehow back from the dead. Who do you have? Which 2 are making it?
I don't really know at this. I gotta something I gotta think about deeply. Because I could see any team making the playoffs. It's just it sucks that we kind of have to kick out because the East has been an absolute nuke fest this year.
There are no coughing babies, only hydrogen bombs.
Yeah, except at the very bottom. They got New Jersey on the 11th. And then they have a 2-game road trip in Florida to close out the season. They're at Tampa Monday, April 13th, which is arguably their second toughest game outside of Minnesota. But depending on where Tampa may be in the standings, that could be a bit easier. And then you have Florida away, which where Florida is. They're not going to make the playoffs. Sucks, though, because I think as much as, I don't really like actually, no. I love the Panthers. Listen, I owe the Panthers my life. 2023, that was beautiful. seeing 9 goals dunked on your franchise in the building. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, that Mark Stone hat trick. Oh man.
You're not going to hear a single positive word about the Panthers from me, other than I can admit they're good. I hate their guts. That entire team.
The only time I've ever go ahead. Go. You finish.
Oh, just saying they've ruined my dreams. 2023 was the most traumatic series I've watched, which is saying something. 4 1-goal games, and we don't get to make the finals after like such a hot run. And then last year they just absolutely steamrolled the Hurricanes. And I got to pay money to go to game 1 of that series. It was awful.
No. It's honestly the worst part about at least you could say this last season you guys won a conference final game. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. That's if we got swept, it would have just made it worse.
Yeah, no, you could kind of take solace in the fact that you won an Eastern Conference final game for the first time since the Cup year, which that's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, 2009 Penguins just kind of did the same thing. It was bulldozing it. 2019 Canes got farther than they should have. Bruins demolished. 23 was the only one where the Canes were like a competent team in the series, and they, even though they got swept, they probably could have won that series if a couple goals went the other way.
Yeah.
And then 20, it was just same old. It's like I think last year's team was not ready for that type of stage. This year's team is though. I think see the conference finals appearance at least.
I can see that. It's just if they run into like Tampa though, that's where it gets hard.
Agreed. Tampa or Buffalo in the conference finals.
I think they'll have a better chance against Buffalo. However, I think Carolina has the better goaltending. I trust Carolina's goalies more than I do Buffalo's. It's kind of hard to gauge Buffalo because they haven't been in the playoffs for so long.
Yeah, like you have no clue how they're really going to perform.
The Canes, they have a core group of guys that have been playoff tested. They haven't won any cups, which I feel like that if it's going to change, it's going to be this year. They haven't won any cups, but they've been on deep runs. So I really trust Carolina more than I do Buffalo.
The way that Ehlers has been playing on that third line with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook, as well as how Stankoven is heating up, the top line of Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov, they're all clicking. I'm getting very excited. I mean, I think it'll be either Boston or Ottawa that we play in the first round, depending on if we finish first in the conference or not. And I can see that going 5-6 games. I don't think New York or Pittsburgh would be a challenge, to be honest.
Canes versus Bruins is always like, it feels like, I know it's kind of helped by like the classic Boston Hartford rivalry, but Canes versus Bruins just sounds like a classic playoff series. Like you're going to get a good 6 games, as I could average 6 games between those teams.
7-game series was cinema. I mean,
even
though neither team won on the road, it was cinema.
Yeah. That game 7, if it went to overtime, that was, I think, you know what? That was Bruce Cassidy's last game as a Bruin. Now that I realize. That 2022 last game was against Carolina in game 7, and now he's unemployed again. What a difference a year makes. By the way, I just want to say how absurd this is, because that was the last year. That was the last Olympics before they added NHL players again. And that was also that weird COVID year where they had like the entire month of February just blocked off. But then no players went to the Olympics. It's like, okay, let's just fill the games up. And the playoffs still started in May.
Yeah, it was like a break across multiple teams, right?
That was so weird. That the first attempt at a full year back from COVID was crazy.
I feel like that's a big reason why the scoring has gone so far up too. Like after the divisional battles in 2021, it's just been up and up and up every year. Goalies are
Yeah,
getting
no,
worse. Kucherov, McKinnon, McDavid.
yeah. Let's. I just want to. Scott Wedgwood leads the league in save percentage and goals allowed
What?
or goals against. Yeah, no, 219 goals allowed average and a save percentage of 9.16 or 0.916.
The Avs are scary. They're scary.
And he's the backup. But if anyone's winning the Vezina, it's probably Vasilevsky. You know, 2.34 goals allowed average, 912 save percentage. He's like Vasilevsky's back, and that kind of scares me.
This is going to be their last like cling to power.
Yeah.
Is out of the picture too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Kucherov's going to win the Hart?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like because
He's kind of owed one, in my opinion.
he is kind of owed one, but at the same time, I don't know, because Montreal. If I had to pick like a dark horse candidate, like I would not like it'd be out of left field, but I would not be shocked if this guy won the Hart. Give me Cole Caulfield as a sneaky Hart candidate.
He's put some money
49 goals. 49 goals.
Put some money down on him winning the Rocket. He is catching up to McKinnon fast.
Yeah, and it sucks because he did that after I traded him in fantasy.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of fantasy, where are you placed right now?
Okay, so I'm actually out of the playoffs, but in this league I'm doing, you get better chances at the first overall pick if you win your like consolation games. And so far I'm 1-0.
Oh wow!
And
due to the PWHL system.
Yeah, we're adopting the PWHL system, which I think honestly. I think the NHL should adopt that. I think the NHL should adopt that. I also think the NBA should. This is a hockey podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about hoops because I see all this stuff about Adam Silver. Like, oh, we're gonna take all like the incoming rookies that we're going to be drafted. We're just going to make them all free agents. Are you kidding me? That is
the stupidest thing.
That is the worst idea I have ever heard of. Adam
Silver will never have a player again.
Adam Silver is like people talk about how Gary Bettman is not a great not a great commissioner. I argue he's way better than Adam Silver. I used to think Adam Silver was a pretty good commissioner until this year.
Adam Silver is like he treats the NBA like he's running like a wrestling company, something like there's just so many gimmicks now. Like the play-in tournament idea is fine, but I like the NHL's better where the end of the season matters instead of, let's make up an imaginary qualifier for which team gets beat in the first round.
I think that play-in system, honestly, if I had to take it like at the vacuum, I think the play-in system would work better in terms of like context of the sport because in basketball you have so many like weak teams that they're just going to get destroyed by like the Thunder or the Spurs in the first round. In the NHL, there is enough like historical context, especially recent historical context, where I could see if there was a hypothetical play-in system intact, like there could be another situation where like a play-in team could absolutely upset the President's Trophy winner, and I think it's like it doesn't happen often, like, but it's happened 2 times in the first round, and even not even President's Trophy winners like the Seattle Kraken 2023, they upset the defending champions in 7 games on the road in Game 7. The Panthers
made a Cup Finals appearance in the COVID year.
Yeah, it's like I think there's an argument for hockey to have a play-in system. There's more of a use of a play-in system in hockey, It's just I don't feel like you can't really do anything without upsetting traditionalists, and I'm fine with keeping it the 8-team, 16-team playoff.
It
It's
needs to be
just
one.
if anything, that's what we need to go back to 1-8. We need to go back to one because like looking at the playoffs, if they were to go back to like a 1 versus 8 scenario, you'd have Dallas versus San Jose, which is a matchup that's already going to happen no matter what. If the season ended today, matchup's already going to happen no matter what. You would have Dallas, Vegas, Minnesota, Utah, Anaheim, Edmonton in the round 1 for the West. That's a juicy round 1.
That's a really good playoff. It actually, like rewards teams for doing good in the regular season, which is a crazy.
I still think I honestly think Vegas has a better chance of beating Dallas. Because every time Vegas has played Dallas, they've played them really well. It's just goaltending's been an issue. But I've waxed poetically about goaltending a long time. I'm going to keep it to a minimum. You have Carolina, Ottawa, Tampa, New York, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and oh boy, you ready for this next one? Montreal, Boston.
That's a beautiful playoffs right there.
I think if you're going to change the playoff system, you change it back to something that's been tried and true, 1 versus 8, there's no problem with that. And I think this is a really good year for it because there's so much like confusion. Because like I've gone back in the past and like on my free time and just done like past playoff seasons, but in the 1 versus 8, the matchups barely change. This year, it's different, and I think that's probably for the best. Like this is the best year to argue for that 1 versus 8 system.
And I will start with my condemnations of Gary Bettman because at the NHL GM's meeting a couple of weeks ago, he still continues to like die on this hill that the current system is the best. It works the best because revenues and views are up in the first round. Dude.
Which that's a okay argument. However, if you want rivalries, I'll give you some rivalries. You have a rematch. I'm talking like lighter ones. You have a rematch of that 2017 second round series between the Ducks and the Oilers, where you had that like crazy, like game 6, I believe, where it's like the Ducks came back from 3-0 down to win in overtime, and on a controversial goal interference call. You have Dallas and Vegas, another playoff series between those teams that have been really fun. Recent history. That's recent history too. You have the Mammoth playing Minnesota. The state of hockey versus arguably another big booming hockey hub in the West in Utah. That's not even a rivalry. I just made that up. Because the West, it's not really that rivalry focused. The East, however, all you have to say is Montreal, Boston, and I'm sold. Boston, I'm sold. I'm watching all the games. Montreal, Boston, I'm sold. Like that. And even then, you have what's another one? You have Tampa, New York Islanders. That's been a Western Conference final. That was Western Conference finals for 2 straight years. Eastern Conference finals, not Western. It's been Eastern Conference finals for 2 years. In the early 2020. Pittsburgh, Buffalo. Like this
my
is
problem
the year.
with it really is that they're trying to like manufacture this. Like they're trying to manufacture these rivals, but all you do is dilute the second and third rounds.
Yeah,
you get teams. It's like anti-sport.
The thing is, it's like it kind of like devalues like winning the division a bit if you go through this 1 through 8. However, I don't know, because I feel like if you just got rid of divisions entirely, and then you just kind of played like, I guess like it's there for schedule purposes as well. Format. At the same time, it's like I don't know. You kind of want some banners in your arena, so that's why they have the divisions. But like in the NBA, divisions are almost worthless.
I'd be okay with smaller divisions, like do teams of 4 instead of 8. in each division, and then it doesn't matter as much toward the actual standings. It's just whoever gets 1 through 8.
I like your thinking. However, I think smaller divisions just kind of works more towards like a sport like football because you're playing a way less amount of games, and the sport is already so taxing because you got to make a schedule on your own. I think I'm okay with the current division alignment. Like, if anything, maybe like if the NHL does expand in the future, maybe just reformat some divisions, like move some teams to the east or something like that. Because Nashville in the east is still Nashville in the west is still kind of weird to me. I don't know why.
They seem a lot closer than they are, but I guess it's just the time zone thing because they're still in the time or whatever. I say this with my Labatt blue light in hand. I hate Gary Bettman's guts sometimes. We mentioned earlier about how he's being stubborn about the format as it is. But GMs wanted to propose several minor rule adjustments, including coach's challenge, pucks over the glass, and they all voted on that. That was fine. But as soon as they started pushing back on goalie interference, Bettman lost his crap, saying video review has held up extraordinarily well. Despite Anaheim Ducks GM Pat Verbeek and Hurricanes GM Eric Tulsky also raising concerns about the standard of goalie interference and how nobody, not fans, not teams, obviously not the refs, can properly define goaltender interference. But in my opinion, the most egregious part is that according to Michael Russo, Eric Tulsky took issue with the league's standards on head contact, feeling that the standard for discipline was just completely slipping. And Alan Walsh, who was not present, relayed the same thing. He said that the GM told Gary that it appears the league has relaxed its standard on headshots, and Bettman was irate and blasted the GM. He completely dismissed his point and then alluded to everybody in the room that the reason Tulsky said that was because of Tom Dundon. And he said something that we all know why you're bringing this up, because your owner tell you to do it. And Tulsky didn't back down or anything like that. But it's just why is this old-ass man such a petulant child about everything? Anything he gets in terms of feedback or criticism, he completely loses his shit. And it's so not respectable as a sports organization, as a league, that this man thinks so highly of himself and his ego is so large that, number one, he's probably never going to retire. And number two, all of his ideas have to be perfect. And granted, he's done a lot to expand and to make real fan bases and across the South, East, Southwest. That's great. That's great for hockey. That's the only reason we have this podcast going right now. He needs to retire. He needs to chill out. This game is not going to go anywhere further if he's still in charge. He also defended the Department of Player Safety head, George Peros, saying, quote, goes through a very detailed process of analyzing any situation. And Bettman added that criticism of Peros is unfair and that any discipline handed down has been within the range of precedent. AJ Greer didn't get suspended for his hit. Radko Gudas only got 5 games for blatantly kneeing Austin Matthews, one of your star players. At what point does this end? At what point is the league going to actually grow a backbone and be okay, you can no longer decapitate your fellow players? Because it feels like we've just seen more and more. And it's I'm all for hitting and I'm all for fighting and I'm all for tough stuff. That's great. I don't want to see these guys trying to murder each other, it's what it feels like they're doing sometimes. And when they don't step into enforcement rules, it's just going to make it hotter. I mean, the preseason thing with Tampa and Florida, where Tampa just dressed a bunch of goons and fought Florida for the entire game.
In a damn preseason game, too. That's crazy.
But it's what other choice is the NHL giving them? They're not gonna do anything unless Gary says so. And as soon as Gary retires, it's probably going to be one of his little buddies that takes over and just keep us here. And bro, I'm just tired of the baby boomers' hold on the sport. They gotta let go.
Hold on,
They
society too, but that's a talk for another day. That's a talk for another day.
Yeah, they're
If we ever start a political podcast, then we're talking about that.
no, and that's the
Cool.
thing. It's across every facet. It's across. Shoot, it happens at my job. Like, I get it. The boomers don't want to retire, but I'm so sick of Gary Bettman. I'm so sick of the corporate
I think
BS.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think one of the worst parts for me, because I am like, I have a lot of friends that are like part of the LGBTQ plus community, and like one of the like worst decisions I think ever was not only like getting rid of the specialty jerseys for warm-ups, but also like the whole like pride tape thing was also kind of like a cluster of like bad. I'll just say the word. It was a clusterfuck. It was a clusterfuck of holy shit. Where are you guys going? Because I know it's like, oh, we're trying to, protect the players' right to align with their religion, which that's a whole other topic for another day. We're gonna leave that alone. But
Like, I'm fine if a guy wants to sit out, but why do you have to get rid of the entire jersey?
why ruin the fun for everyone for a handful of players?
And
Because
like, that just takes away from these LGBTQ foundations too. Like, those usually
and it's
get
not even
sold and everything.
yeah, and it's not even just like the pride jersey. It's the cancer jersey. It's the military jerseys. It's there's like the Asian night jerseys at the nights do, Chinese Heritage Night, Black History Month, Donor Night.
They all look incredible.
I wish they would sell them at retail value, but
That's true.
but they went for a good cause, and I don't think it's the same when they still have the jerseys, but they're not wearing them. It doesn't really hit the same, and I think just getting rid of like the whole like jersey program in general, or at least having them not wear them in warm-ups, is a disservice to the organizations that benefit them. Because a warm-up word jersey is a lot more valuable than one that's just going to sit on a table being auctioned off while the players are just warming up in regular jerseys.
Yeah, it's like it's not the same event either. Like the only difference is going to be the graphics throughout the night. Like, no, I want to see these guys skating around in the whatever, the Chinese Dragon jersey, the Pride jersey, whatever.
And it's not like going back to like just simply pride jerseys. Like the NHL, we know the whole stigma around hockey in general. It's a very conservative sport, like a very rich conservative sport. But there were still guys who would wear the pride jersey. Like to me, it just seems like they don't really care. And then when some people do, when some people did care, like that's when it kind of became an issue.
That's the thing with all hockey guys. At the end of the day, they're like more community focused than anything. Like they're gonna support whatever the team tells them to support.
Yeah,
and kind of lost that element. And I don't know, man. If I was a LGBTQ fan, I would be peeved at that. It's like, okay, so the sport's basically telling me, they don't want me that bad. They want me. They don't want me that bad. They want to buy their products, but they don't want to showcase me.
Yeah, and the entire topic of like LGBTQ nights in sports is I don't know if you've heard like the recent NBA news, but that's also been kind of blown up recently. Yeah, Jade and Ivy. I mean, I'm not gonna say like much about the situation, but it's clear that there's something wrong with him, and I hope that he gets the help that he needs, because it just sucks to see a guy who's reached the NBA level kind of lose his sanity, because he didn't get waived for his rants, but there's a lot more that's happening behind the scenes, and I can kind of tell that the way that's going, and I hope he gets the help that he gets, because I've heard lots of talks like, oh, he's like developing like religious psychosis or anything like that. Yeah, no, we need to like. Yeah, no. We need to like. We need to. Before I go on a rant, I just hope he gets the help that he needs. He needs the help.
There's a definite mental health crisis in this country that seems to be exasperated every day online.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not just religion, sports too. I mean, Just everyday life. Everyday life. There's probably someone that's I didn't expect this episode to get so deep.
But no, like you go out in public now and people are like noticeably sadder. It's a very weird time right now.
A lot more nihilistic. But hey, listen, sometimes doom scrolling can be addicting. Just you gotta moderate yourself.
Oh yeah. Avoid looking at screens for more than a couple hours in a row. That's all I gotta say.
I do a horrible job at avoiding that. I watch hockey. That's already like 2 hours.
I'm in a hockey psychosis that's never gonna end.
Yeah, no, sport's awesome. Anyways, we'll be right back. We'll do one more segment to wrap up this entire show, and I'll try and work on not looking at a screen for more than 12 hours a day.
Welcome back to the Coast to Coast podcast, where two guys discuss hockey
and other things, among other things.
Yeah, a lot in this episode.
All right, yeah. All right.
So Owen mentioned earlier in the show that he's a bit of a jersey nerd.
I love my jerseys, man. I don't know what to tell you.
We got some alleged jersey news. This is the inside source here. Yeah.
So, starting next year, there will be a new league-wide initiative to produce new jerseys for each team called the Hometown Remix jerseys. Kind of similar to the Reverse Retro, but more in line with like the NBA City Connect, MLB City Connect, NBA City jerseys, that kind of thing. Don't know if it's going to be like a repeatedly year issue. Really hope it's not, because I don't know if you keep up with the NBA, but the NBA jerseys for the City editions are kind of like running out of creativity over there. But I digress.
Cream City.
Cream City is crazy. Anyways, so there's actually a rumored like list of colors for each of the jerseys, and I'm gonna run them off in alphabetical order. The Anaheim Ducks will be wearing a green jersey. The Boston Bruins will be wearing a brown jersey. The Sabres will be wearing a navy blue, emphasis on navy blue jersey. The Calgary Flames will be rocking another red jersey. Your Carolina Hurricanes, interestingly, are going to be rocking a gray jersey. We'll get back to that later. The Chicago Blackhawks will be rocking a green jersey. Columbus rocking a gray jersey. I feel like I'm saying rocking a lot. The Colorado Avalanche will use white for their primary color on their hometown remix. The Dallas Stars will also copy the Colorado Avalanche and with a white one as well. Detroit will wear a red jersey. I'll just keep it at that. Edmonton will be wearing a black jersey. Keep that color in mind, black, because that's going to come back later a couple times maybe. The Florida Panthers, which is one I'm excited about, will have a pink jersey.
Oh, Miami Vice.
The Los Angeles Kings. Here's another one I'm interested in. The Los Angeles Kings will be wearing a purple jersey. Ever since they rebranded, I would say you got to bring back the purple in some way, as an alternate, as a I don't know, just bring it back. Bring purple back. We need more purple in the NHL.
Absolutely.
I wanted purple in Utah's color scheme. I think purple would have looked great on there.
With that light
the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, the Minnesota Wild will rock a black jersey. The Montreal Canadiens will use navy blue as the primary color, and so will the Nashville Predators, 2 back-to-back navy blues. The New Jersey Devils will use black. The New York Islanders will use white. The Rangers and the Senators will use black as the primary color on their jersey. The Philadelphia Flyers will wear gray. The Penguins, another one I'm kind of excited about, if you know the history of the Penguins, will wear navy blue. The San Jose Sharks will wear teal. The Seattle Kraken will use navy blue. The St. Louis Blues and Tampa Bay Lightning will both use black. The Toronto Maple Leafs will be rocking a beige jersey. The Utah Mammoth will be using their light blue for their base. The Vancouver Canucks are going with a navy blue. The Golden Knights a black jersey. I'll talk about that one later. The Washington Capitals will rock a more royal blue. And then to wrap things up, the Winnipeg Jets will stick with navy blue for their hometown remix jersey. All right, off the bat, there are 3 jerseys that catch my mind, and those will be the Panthers Miami Vice jersey, if that's the case, the Kings purple, and then the navy blue Pittsburgh Penguins. Those are the top 3 jerseys outside of my own teams that I think will that's gonna pop. And I think
I'm excited.
those 3 are already like the best jerseys already out there.
Another one that seems interesting to me is the black Rangers jersey. I wonder where they're going to
Yeah. I wonder, because the Islanders are going with white. I don't know, because I don't know what the Rangers would do. That one's interesting.
I would think it'd be a Statue of Liberty jersey, because I think right now they don't have any active ones. So that would be my
kind of like I don't know how do you do that though. Like, you remember that Lightning jersey that was like kind of like black and gray, grayed out, all kind of. What if it's like that? But like the Lady Liberty, and there's like red and blue accents. Oh, I think that would look really good. Because I know Reebok did like a line of like blackout jerseys, but they were never worn. They were like kind of like fashion jerseys almost. Another one that sticks out to me, Vegas in black. You remember that glow in the dark jersey a couple years ago?
Yes, I do.
I've been hammering for that to come back as like an alternate. I don't think it's going to be that because the Knights are retiring the first gray jerseys, which sucks because I love those jerseys.
Yeah,
they're outside of the white one, were the best ones that we have. I think they are going to bring that. I hope they bring the glow in the dark back as like an alternate, and then like do whatever you do with the black jersey for the hometown remix. And then you also have the Stadium Series on top of that, so potentially, so you have
more colorful gold, right?
I think Vegas, they have the opportunity because green and red kind of clash with each other. You can kind of do like a green versus red matchup, which is going to be weird because the game's in February in Dallas is going to be kind of like a Christmassy like showdown in February. I don't know. I think that would look the best. It would work. It's just Christmas vibes in February are not really my kind of thing, unfortunately. But let's talk about the Hurricanes gray. Yeah, let's hear about that.
Hurricanes going gray it scares me a little bit because the first reverse retro that the Canes did with the gray Whalers, it didn't really work that well. I think they have potential to do like a Raleigh kind of, all-encompassing jersey. Like I feel like they're going to use the Stormy logo that's on the side patch of their away jerseys. I feel like that'll be what they go with.
I think they kind of make it look like NC State's uniforms. I think that could look nice.
I'd be okay with that
because
I like the NC State hockey team. Whenever they do, like, their jerseys look just like the football jerseys, but just like hockey.
Hockey, yeah.
And if they did that with the Canes jersey, that could look pretty nice.
Yeah. Another one that's like Bruins brown. I think they're just gonna do like a throwback. That just screams throwback.
Jersey in the 2010s, like the brown and yellow one. I feel like they might bring that.
Yeah, I could see that. That would sound pretty good. Calgary red and Detroit red. I feel like those are probably gonna be like those are early contenders for the worst jerseys of this batch.
Detroit's just gonna do the same thing. It's just gonna be their logo and
I need Detroit like to bring back like that D like you have like those outdoor jerseys, like bring those back. Like
with like the Tigers kind of logo.
Yeah.
Like the script D, yeah. Yeah, those look pretty good.
So Vegas potentially next year will have the gold home, the white away, a potential alternate, a new alternate with the reverse, the hometown remix line, and then the Stadium Series So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, about potentially 5 jerseys next year. And that's not even considering that. Considering it's going to be the 10th year of the team, I doubt they would do this for a year 10 expansion team. But if there's a potential like 10th anniversary jersey, like it's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't think they will. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they do a 10-year anniversary jersey. I think
a patch at the very least.
A patch is like definite, but like like I don't know, because I feel like Vegas has been such like an outlier. It wouldn't shock me if they did a 10th year anniversary jersey. I don't know. I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be shocked. And then I think kind of like just to wrap up everything about this segment right here about just jerseys, LA Kings purple. I've been saying it for a while since they brought back the old branding or refreshed the old branding. You got to do the Lakers colors again. You got to do that Lakers that first reverse retro. Beautiful. You put that in with the new logo, new branding, all that. It's gonna sell. It's gonna sell out like immediately, and you guys need to get that onto that now. But that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Coast to Coast podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this bit of a weird episode. You know, we had that first segment recorded on Wednesday, or not Wednesday, about those Monday. First episode recorded on Monday segment, and then this segment right now. Bit of a weird episode, bit of time in between recording sessions, but we appreciate you for listening in, and we'll hope to see you on the next episode. Have a good rest of your time, gentlemen. That sucked. That was a horrible outro, but have a good take care, and see you on the next one.
See ya.